The playoffs are over. The Astros won their second World Series title. And today, I want to look back at the 5 best games of the 2022 MLB postseason. First, a few notable games. Phillies at Cardinals, NL Wildcard, Game 1. Jose Quintana and Zach Wheeler were dominant, but when Wheeler was pulled in the 7th, Juan Yepez took Jose Alvarado deep to break the scoreless tie. The Phillies were shut out going into the 9th, but they had 7 straight batters reach base and scored 6 runs, stealing that game and sparking their amazing run to the World Series. We also had 2 historic games. You can call it great pitching or bad hitting, but whatever you call it, they were very, very long. First, the Rays at Guardians, AL Wildcard Game 2. Tyler Glasnow and Tristan McKenzie started this one and they were great, but the bullpens took over and pushed this one to 15 innings. It only got this far because, in the 12th, Jose Ramirez was able to throw out Manny Margot on this amazing play to preserve the scoreless tie. Finally, in the bottom of the 15th, Oscar Gonzalez took former Indian Corey Kluber out of the yard to win the game and the series. The other scoreless marathon came in Game 3 of the ALDS, Astros at Mariners. Lance McCullers and George Kirby both set up their teams to win. The Astros were set up in the 9th, runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, but Matt Brash came in and struck out Christian Vasquez and Jose Altuve to keep it scoreless. In the top of the 18th, Jeremy Pena led off with a home run off Penn Murphy, and Luis Garcia made that hold up, finishing the game with 5 scoreless innings, and the Astros completed the sweep. I wanted this to be a top 5, but I picked out 6 games, and I couldn't figure out which one to leave off, so I'm gonna have 2 number 5s. Number 5A, World Series Game 5, Astros at Phillies. Both teams struck early, Jose Altuve and Jeremy Pena leading off with 2 hits to get a run off Noah Syndergaard, and then Kyle Schwarber answering back right away with a leadoff homer off Justin Verlander. The Phillies tried to mount a 2-out rally in the 2nd. They loaded the bases, but Rhys Hoskins struck out with no damage done. Verlander, looking for his first World Series win, would settle down and only give up the 1 run over 5 innings. On the other side, Noah Syndergaard was on a short leash, but before he got pulled, he gave up a leadoff home run to Jeremy Pena in the 4th. The bullpens kept the score tight. The Astros threatened in the 7th inning, with Yuli Gurriel on 3rd and nobody out, but they got him in a rundown on a fielder's choice, a play that ended with a Gurriel injury and he had to leave the game. But when Sir Anthony Dominguez walked Altuve and gave up a single to Pena in the 8th, David Robertson came in to limit the damage. The Astros got a key run on Yordan Alvarez's ground ball to 1st. Hoskins got the out but let the run score, and that insurance run turned out to be huge. Down 2, the Phillies mounted a big rally off Rafael Montero, scoring a run on Gene Segura's single and being set up to tie the game with runners on 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Ryan Presley came on to strike out Brandon Marsh, and then Kyle Schwarber smashed a liner to 1st, right at Gurriel's replacement Trey Mancini, and he made a great pick to preserve the Astros' lead. This wouldn't be the last defensive gem from the Astros. In the bottom of the 9th, JT Realmuto looked like he may have tied the game with a homer, but Chas McCormick rose up and picked it right off the wall, killing the potential rally, and the Astros would win the pivotal Game 5. Number 5B, NLCS Game 5, Padres at Phillies. Up 3-1, but trying to avoid going back to San Diego, the Phillies gave the ball to Zach Wheeler to send them to the World Series. Yu Darvish was tough on the other side, but Rhys Hoskins got the action going in the 3rd with a 2-out, 2-run homer. Not to be outdone, Juan Soto came right back and cut the lead in half, but that was all Wheeler would allow through 6 innings. He gave up a leadoff single to Jake Cronenworth in the top of the 7th. Rob Thompson pulled him for Sir Anthony Dominguez, and he was wild. He gave up a double to Josh Bell, surrounded by 3 wild pitches, and suddenly, that 2-1 lead became a 3-2 deficit. Bryson Stott doubled off Yu Darvish in the 7th to knock him out of the game, but Robert Suarez shut the door with no damage. He remained in the game for the 8th inning, but after giving up a leadoff single to JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper came up with a chance to make a special moment, and he didn't let it pass him by. He launched an opposite field 2-run go-ahead homer that will go down in Phillies history. But the game was not over. David Robertson came on to close it out, but after 2 walks, Rob Thompson called on Ranger Suarez to finish it off. With runners on 2nd and 3rd, he got Austin Nola to pop out, and that was it. The Phillies win the pennant. Number 4, ALDS Game 3, Yankees at Guardians. After splitting the first 2 in New York, the first game back in Cleveland was crucial. Luis Severino had the ball for the Yankees, but he was having no fun with Steven Kwan early in the game. He scored the first run in the 1st on a Josh Naylor single, and drove in the 2nd run in the 2nd. Tristan McKenzie had the lead, but he couldn't hold it. There was a lot of angst over the way Aaron Judge started the postseason, but in the 3rd, he tied the game with a 2-run blast. 2 innings later, Oswaldo Cabrera broke the tie with a 2-run homer of his own. In the 6th, Severino got the first 2 outs, then gave up back-to-back singles and his night was over. Lou Trevino came on, but gave up another single to Will Brennan, getting the Guardians one run closer. But Gleyber Torres snared this liner off the bat of Miles Straw. In the 7th, Harrison Bader got that run back, launching a homer off Sam Hinch's. This 5-3 lead would last all the way to the bottom of the 9th, where Wandy Peralta was trying to close it out but gave up 2 hits, and he was pulled for Clark Schmidt. Ahmed Rosario greeted him with an RBI single. Jose Ramirez followed with an infield single to load the bases. Josh Naylor had been so clutch this year, but he struck out, and it looked like the Yankees may escape. But here comes Oscar Gonzalez, the walk-off hero of Game 2 of the wildcard series. And, down to his last strike, he won the game with a 2-run single, and the Guardians stole a 2-1 series lead. Number 3. AL Wildcard Game 2. Mariners at Blue Jays. After Luis Castillo stunned the Blue Jay crowd in Game 1, completely silencing their bats, the high-powered Jays were ready for Game 2. They wasted no time jumping on their former Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray. This game looked like it belonged to Teoscar Hernandez. He homered in the 2nd and the 4th. That second homer knocking Robbie Ray out of the game and giving the Jays a 4-0 lead. Paul Sewald had a disastrous 5th inning as the Jays launched a huge rally and found themselves up 8-1. Kevin Gausman was having a great game up till the 6th, but the Mariners led off with 3 singles and he was gone. Enter Tim Meza, and after plating one with a wild pitch, Carlos Santana made this a game again with a 3-run homer. Danny Jansen drove in the Blue Jays' 9th run in the 7th, but the Mariners still had 6 outs and they made the most of them. They led off the 8th with 4 straight hits. Jordan Romano struck out 2 in a row with the bases loaded and still had a 3-run lead. But then, J.P. Crawford hit a pop fly to short center, causing an ugly collision between George Springer and Bo Bichette. All 3 runs would score to tie the game, and Springer was taken off the field on a cart. Going to the 9th, it was 9-9, but Cal Raleigh and Adam Frazier doubled to take a 10-9 lead, and George Kirby closed it out, winning the series and finishing the 2nd biggest comeback in postseason history. Number 2. ALDS Game 1. Mariners at Astros. Coming off that insane win over the Blue Jays, the Mariners kept the party rolling right into the ALDS, pouncing on the American League's best pitcher, Justin Verlander. He got through the 4th inning, but he gave up 6 runs. The Astros offense came to play, Yordan Alvarez driving in 2 with 2 outs in the 3rd, and right after Verlander's night was over, Yuli Gurriel took Logan Gilbert out to cut the lead to 6-3. The Mariners would tack on in the 7th, Eugenio Suarez hitting a solo blast off Christian Javier, and the Mariners would take this 4-run lead to the 8th. Andres Munoz had been so good all year, but Alex Bregman cut the lead in half with a home run and gave the Astros a chance to make a 9th inning comeback. Paul Sewald was a disaster in his last game against Toronto, but it looked like he was going to get out of this one and steal Game 1 for the Mariners in Houston. He got Christian Vasquez the ground out, he hit David Hensley, struck out Jose Altuve, then, with 2 strikes, Jeremy Pena singles to bring the winning run to the plate in Yordan Alvarez. Sewald comes out, Robbie Ray comes in, a left-on-left matchup, but Yordan Alvarez took his 2nd pitch into the 2nd deck for the walk-off, a 3-run blast. This was an epic moment, but it was only the 2nd biggest home run that Alvarez would hit in this postseason.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field, Veerling's back, this game is turned upside down!
Number 1. World Series Game 1, Phillies at Astros. Both these teams clinched their trip to the World Series 5 days prior, so they were ready to go with their aces. Justin Verlander versus Aaron Nola. Verlander looked great early, but Nola ran into a problem. That problem's name was Kyle Tucker. He went yard in the 2nd and 3rd innings, the last one being a 3-run shot, and the Astros took an early 5-0 lead. The Phillies didn't give up. The next inning, they rallied for 3 2-out runs, and JT Realmuto doubled in 2 more in the 5th to tie the game. Justin Verlander was done after 5 innings. Aaron Nola got into the 5th, and then Rob Thompson saw his chance to win the game, and he took it. He had been so careful where to deploy the best of his bullpen this whole postseason, and with the game tied, he went for broke. He emptied his bullpen, and they were able to keep the game tied into the 9th. But with 2 outs, Jose Altuve singled off Sir Anthony Dominguez, stole 2nd base, and Jeremy Pena hit a pop fly to shallow right that looked like it was going to fall in and win the game. But Nick Castellanos made an outstanding catch to keep it tied and send it to extras. Luis Garcia came on for the 10th to face JT Realmuto, and he came through once again, lining a go-ahead homer over the right field fence. David Robertson tried to close this one out. He got Yordan Alvarez, but Alex Bregman almost tied the game and had to settle for a double. He got Tucker, walked Gurriel, then uncorked a wild pitch to put the winning run in scoring position. Aledmus Diaz leaned into a pitch to get hit. The umpire saw that and denied giving him his base, and on the next pitch, he grounded out to end the game. It was an amazing way to start the World Series. Turns out, it didn't change the outcome, but it was one of the most exciting and dramatic World Series games I've ever seen. Those are the top 5, or really top 6 playoff games in my opinion. Let me know where you agree or disagree. If there's a game I didn't mention that should have been on here, there were some close games that I left out, so if you would have changed anything here, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you're new here and want to see more content just like this, please give me a sub. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.